Couch co-op and split screen tend to be associated with consoles, as the terms conjure up images of friends playing the likes of Mario Party and Mario Kart on a TV, but PC owners have plenty of options as well. Nowadays, most major multiplayer releases make their way to Steam, and they typically offer online support to simplify the process of finding partners. LAN parties have generally transitioned to online connections, a decision that permits users to either play with friends or strangers. Online is the standard in modern gaming, but that doesn't mean local co-op has gone extinct. In fact, some of the most memorable multiplayer experiences on Steam let players share a screen. Even though PC gaming is not synonymous with local co-op or especially split screen, there are plenty of games that demonstrate the potential of these multiplayer experiences. What's going on, everyone? Jeffrey here. Welcome to Game Rant. In this video, I'll be showcasing 10 great local co-op and split screen games to enjoy on Steam, so let's dive into the list. Number 10, Overcooked 2. Team 17 is a great track record when it comes to co-op projects. Worms is the publisher's most well-known property, but the likes of The Escapists and Alien Breed deserve honorable mentions. If asked to select a local co-op PC game to represent the developer's portfolio, it is difficult to look beyond Overcooked 2. Now, don't be fooled by its vibrant visuals and a tentative association with the party genre. Overcooked 2 is a stressful, albeit fun restaurant sim. Up to 4 players must step into a kitchen and keep the dishes rolling as orders pile on up. Much like the real deal, organization and teamwork are vital if the chefs want to stay ahead of the curve. Number 9, Lovers in a Dangerous Spacetime. Surviving space is always difficult, but having the right partners can make the process a bit less painful. Lovers in a Dangerous Spacetime is a co-op game that really emphasizes communication and coordination. Players find themselves stuck in a spaceship that requires 7 crew members to man all of its stations. Unfortunately, at most, only 4 people are actually available. Consequently, players will have to regularly jump from station to station to try and keep things moving forward, an accomplishment that is far easier said than done. Each station has its complexities, and they must all be properly managed if a successful and safe flight are to be achieved. Lovers in a Dangerous Spacetime can only be played in local co-op, although Steam's remote play is an option as well. This decision makes sense because players need to maintain open lines of communication to ensure they coordinate their efforts well. Wasted movement is a death sentence, and this is one of those games that can really test a few friendships. Number 8, Moving Out 2. One of the better co-op games of 2023, Moving Out 2 builds on the ideas of its predecessor and goes for broke in terms of its story. While playable solo, SMG's project is undoubtedly intended to be enjoyed as part of a group, and the game is hard to recommend truly if someone plans to just play on their own. The premise is fairly straightforward: carry and move furniture. That's largely it, and players have a moving service, one that is willing to take on most jobs regardless of their destination. Sometimes that can mean traveling to another dimension altogether. With purposefully wonky physics and a strong sense of humor, Moving Out 2 can inspire laughter and frustration in equal measure, although the latter doesn't usually stick around for too long. Number 7, Baldur's Gate 3. After achieving near perfection with Divinity Original Sin 2, which is also a great co-op PC RPG, Larian Studios did the impossible and produced something arguably even better. After spending almost 3 years in early access, Baldur's Gate 3 finally made its proper debut in August 2023, and to say the game was well received would definitely be an understatement. Hailed as a new benchmark in the CRPG genre, the long-awaited sequel is a deep and rewarding single-player experience that can easily keep somebody entertained for months and months on end. A big part of the game's appeal is its flexible and reactive design that seeks to morph the world to complement a player's choices. While a perfectly fantastic solo experience, Baldur's Gate 3's local co-op feature is also just not an afterthought. Players can join someone else's campaign or heck, start a new one where they play together from the beginning. Thanks to the use of split screen, adventurers are not tied to each other, and one party member can actually head out to explore on their own while their partner does something else entirely. Even though they will likely stick together during most sessions, Baldur's Gate 3 makes it possible for both players to feel in control. Number 6, It Takes Two. Hazelight is responsible for 2 of the best 2-player Steam games. A Way Out is fantastic and an easy recommendation for any duos seeking a mature storyline. However, 2021's It Takes Two is generally regarded as the superior overall package. The story follows a married couple who are shrunk down and have to go on a wild adventure to make it back home. The premise might sound derivative, but the game absolutely nails its characters, visuals, and gameplay. As May and Cody are on the verge of getting a divorce, their shared situation forces them to openly communicate and work together after years of growing apart. It Takes Two's co-op gameplay reflects and enhances the narrative themes as well. Number 5, Cuphead. Studio MDHR's Cuphead puts players through the ringer, overwhelming them with colorful bosses inspired by old-school cartoons. This journey will always be crushingly difficult, but Cuphead does not need to face the Devil's Debtors alone. He can be accompanied by Mugman or Ms. Chalice in the delicious Last Course DLC, although the power of friendship might not result in an easier time. Although an acquired taste, Cuphead achieves everything it sets out to do. The game's visuals are eye-catching, its gameplay is punishing but generally fair, and the soundtrack is fantastic. Provided people are looking for a big challenge, this project is one of the best local co-op games on Steam. Number 4. Bread and Fred. Bread and Fred is a challenging and adorably crafted physics-based adventure that sees two penguins, or a penguin and a heavy object in single-player mode, attempting to scale a mountain peak by swinging and jumping their way through multiple locations. Similar to titles like Jump King and Getting Over It, Bread and Fred takes the prospect of climbing up cliff faces and cranks it up to 11. Not only can players bring a friend along both locally and online, but there are costumes to unlock, story bits to uncover, minigames to play, and so much more. Number 3. Castle Crashers. Originally a 2008 Xbox 360 exclusive, Castle Crashers eventually made its way to other platforms, including a 2012 Steam release. Invariably, each port served to further cement the game's status as a co-op masterpiece. Players pick a knight and bravely head out to save 4 princesses, a process that involves a lot of hacking and slashing through cartoonish enemies. The color-coded playable characters not only come with unique abilities, but also support build variety through customizable stats and weapons. Castle Crashers represents co-op at its absolute best, especially since it encourages players to form balanced parties. Also, the game is pretty darn funny in a very late 2000s type of way. Good times had by all. Number 2. Stardew Valley. One of the most popular PC indie games of all time also happens to be a robust co-op split-screen package. Stardew Valley lets players live out their farming life with a side of dungeon crawling to boot. The base game is deep, expansive, and enticing. Someone can really only play solo and never feel like they're actually missing out on anything. However, Stardew Valley's co-op is well executed as well. After selecting co-op in the starting screen, players can decide to either host or join a world. If they do the former, they will need to set up cabins for their guests, who will then act as farmhands. Even though they are not the quote-unquote main players, guests are able to do almost everything the host can. Number 1. Portal 2. Valve is responsible for some of the most popular and long-lasting multiplayer games on the market, most of which revolve around co-op. While games like Left 4 Dead, Team Fortress 2, Alien Swarm, and Counter-Strike all prioritize teamwork, they are generally associated with online multiplayer or LAN support more so than local co-op. The same could be said for Portal 2 to an extent, although the game is better equipped to take advantage of local 2-player action than most of the developer's other projects. For one, the title supports split screen right out of the box, which makes it a more viable option than the Left 4 Dead games. The 2011 release reached legendary status thanks to its single-player story, which arguably ranks alongside Half-Life 2 as Valve's magnum opus. Less known is Portal 2's co-op campaign that sees 2 robots work together to try and complete GLaDOS's various challenges. Gameplay-wise, this mode retains many of the same fundamentals as the single-player, however, these identical mechanics take on a new flavor when a second player is thrown into the mix. And there we have it everyone, 10 of the very best local co-op and split-screen games to enjoy on Steam. Thank you so much for watching this video from Game Rant. Be sure to check out all sorts of other top-notch gaming content, including more lists, news, reviews, guides, originals, and so much more right here on Game Rant. Have a truly wonderful and happy day everyone. We'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.